Hello again, friends, family, followers, and favorites. Welcome back to my weekly discussion recap of Run with the Wind, aka Kaze ga Tsuyoku Fuiteiru. Last week, we saw some pretty heavy metal drama in the form of the last 3 to 4 minutes of the episode, Summer Prank. It introduced us to yet another level of emotion and psychological drama stemming from a somewhat shady past between Kakeru and Sakaki, who also happened to graduate from the same place, Sendai Josei High School. Every time I finish a really great episode of Kaze, I always convince myself that there will not be a better episode coming in the future. I felt this way back in December when we saw Kakeru lift up the spirits of Prince and catapult him to victory. However, this wonderful show has pleasantly surprised me yet again in a heartwarming breakthrough of story, especially that of Kakeru's past. I won't waste too much more time talking about it, so I'll just go ahead and jump right into it. Right out of the gate, the introduction to this episode could not have been more shocking and intense. In just 20 seconds, we see Kakeru completely smash in his high school track coach's face in a fit of pure rage. This was obviously a flashback, but it shows the truth. Something must have deeply triggered Kakeru back then. We have been hinted at this past several times now, and the incident was almost reincarnated when Kakeru just about committed the same exact act of violence towards Sakaki. The ending to the last episode heavily implied that Kakeru punched Sakaki, but he actually didn't. Needless to say, the writers of the show certainly know how to lead us to thinking one way versus the other, and what a wild trip it was. A solid majority of this episode takes the form of flashbacks from Kakeru's days in high school. What's interesting is that these scenes are overlaid with a very depressing visual and auditory filter that makes his memories sound and look like they were actually found on an old VHS tape or something of similar nature. I think that this effect certainly adds to the psychological misery of Kakeru's dramatic past. It could not have been more clear how much he hated those high school track days. This flashback makes it obvious. Throughout practice and most of the next day, these memories go in and out of Kakeru's mind. This film-grainy story follows the events that led to Kakeru's unleashing of all of his pent-up rage on his unforgiving and arrogant high school coach. Back when Kakeru was a senior in high school, there was a freshman runner on his team who could no longer run fast enough due to a knee or leg muscle strain injury. It was also clear that this freshman was very talented and was on a scholarship for this high school, as many athletes are. It is also even more clear that this high school track coach was an absolutely unforgiving and brutal oppressor to these young men. This coach was constantly scolding his runners and relentlessly putting them down, while at the same time, always praising Kakeru and showing him off to other coaches and faculty as if he was his trophy. Kakeru, as a more humane character, even approached the freshman, showing his humility, even advising him against running until he is well. What Kakeru doesn't understand, though, is that this freshman has a scholarship that allows him to even attend the high school. If this freshman student athlete is not able to run for his team, then he is useless. He is trash in the eyes of this coach. Kakeru's hatred for this man grows deeper and deeper every time his teammates are mistreated, abused, and kicked around. Towards the end of this dramatic happening, Kakeru, who cannot handle the bottled-up hatred, punches his coach as hard as he can. As it was made clear, this flashback was in Kakeru's head all day. He had spaced out while he was running and while he was eating dinner. This issue had been a burden on his mind so much that it took him to a totally different dimension. Haiji and the rest of Kakeru's teammates, his friends, help guide him away from the darkness in what I think is one of the most beautiful scenes, both emotionally and visually, in this show. Kakeru opens up and reveals so much to his partners. He reveals how much he hated his high school years of track and how badly he wanted out. He reveals why he attacked his coach in the way he did. He reveals why Sakaki feels the way he does about him. He reveals the final fate of the Sendai Josei track and field program. And he reveals why he is so scared to proceed further with his team. In one fell swoop, Kakeru destroyed the dreams of dozens of scholarship student athletes as well as his very own, all because of his self-righteous anger. Kakeru is so regretful of his past, which took the hopes and dreams away from so many, that he feels that he cannot proceed further. Who could blame him, though? It is the reason why he quit running and got into all sorts of trouble like stealing and gambling after all. He's a broken man. However, he seeks redemption in the form of running fast, which is why everyone surrounds him in this beautiful scene. Absolutely none of these guys are perfect. Prince is somewhat slow and gravitationally challenged. Nico-chan senpai was once a nicotine-addicted smoker. King is too caught up in worrying for his career, and so on and so forth. Point is, all these guys understand that Kakeru is not perfect and that the past is the past. Everyone goes through their problems over time. Time heals all wounds, after all. They all look past that though, and they see Kakeru for what he gives back to them thus far. These guys seriously look up to him as not only an amazing friend, but as a talented, selfless running partner and coach. He is, after all, the primary reason why Haiji decided to put the team together to run the Hakone Ekiden. They all believe in him to the fullest. In conclusion, on one very beautiful morning, Kakeru gathers all of his friends and fellow teammates together to acknowledge his mistakes and imperfections, owns up to them, and makes a vow to work hard with these people and help support them in their campaign to run in one of the biggest, most prestigious long-distance races in Japan. Next week, there will surely be celebration, hard work, close calls, successes, failures, and promising numbers in You're Not Alone. I truly hope that everyone watching had an excellent week and that they were able to check out a lot of cool new anime series so far this season. I'm actually sort of lost as to what to watch next, so please let me know what you're watching, and if you get the chance, I would love to hear your recommendations. For those of you who tuned in, thank you so much for watching. It means a whole lot that you have all been keeping up with my show every week. Again, for those of you who are new, if you like my videos and like what I talk about, please be sure to like and subscribe the content of Queen City Otaku. You can follow me on Twitter at RealCLTOtaku to listen to more of what I say and to see more of what I do. I hope everyone has an excellent weekend, and I will talk to you guys soon.